You buy them the expensive food, you leave your bed so they can steal your pillow. You even accept the tiny scratches that somehow always happen by accident. And after everything you do, your cat still looks at you like you're an employee who keeps making mistakes. It doesn't come when you call it, walks away the moment you reach out. Sometimes it even chooses to sleep in another room. So naturally, you start wondering, does my cat actually love me? Here's the strange part. If a dog acted like this, we'd probably assume it didn't like us, but cats aren't small dogs. In fact, comparing a cat to a dog is probably the biggest mistake we've ever made, because your cat isn't ignoring you for the reason you think. Some of the behaviors people see as rejection are actually some of the strongest signs of trust a cat can give. And by the end of this video, you'll know how to tell the difference between a cat that's simply independent and one that's telling you in its own language. You're one of the few creatures I actually trust. Once you understand that language, you'll never look at your cat the same way again. So why are cats so different? To answer that, we need to go back thousands of years. Not to a palace, not to a pet store, but to a tiny wild hunter hiding in the grass, long before cats were sleeping on our couches. They were surviving completely on their own. And that's where humans often make their biggest mistake. We assume cats evolved like dogs. They didn't. Dogs come from wolves, animals that survived by working together. A lone wolf had a hard time. A pack had a better chance. So over thousands of generations, dogs evolved brains that became incredibly good at reading social signals, cooperating, and building relationships. Cats took a completely different path. Their ancestors hunted alone. They didn't need a team, they didn't rely on a leader, and they certainly didn't need to impress anyone to survive. Imagine spending millions of years trusting only yourself, and then almost overnight, in evolutionary terms, a giant hairless creature starts leaving food outside its house. That's essentially how the relationship between humans and cats began. Cats weren't bred to serve people. They weren't trained into obedience. They simply realized something. Living near humans is convenient. The mice came for our stored grain. The cats came for the mice, and without planning it, both species made a deal. We offered food without even trying. They offered pest control without even caring. It wasn't ownership. It was cooperation. And that single difference changed everything, because unlike dogs, cats never completely replaced their survival instincts with social ones. Those ancient instincts are still there, quietly shaping almost every interaction they have with you today. Which raises an interesting question. If cats still carry the mind of a solitary hunter, how can you tell whether one actually trusts you? The answer is surprisingly different from what most people expect. So, if cats don't show affection the way dogs do, how do they show it? The answer is surprisingly simple. They don't use human love language, they use cat survival language. And once you understand that language, some of your cat's strangest behaviors suddenly start making perfect sense. Take the slow blink. Most people barely notice it. Your cat looks at you, slowly closes its eyes, then opens them again. It seems almost meaningless. But in the animal world, closing your eyes around another creature is incredibly risky. For a few moments, you're giving up your ability to watch for danger. A wild cat would never do that around something it believed was a threat. So when your cat slowly blinks at you, it's essentially saying, I feel safe enough to let my guard down. It's one of the quietest and strongest signals of trust they can give. Then there's something almost every cat owner laughs about. Your cat walks over, turns around, and sticks its butt in your face. Not exactly the heartfelt moment you were hoping for, but to another cat, exposing such a vulnerable part of the body isn't rude at all. It's trust. They're showing you they don't expect an attack. The same goes for something many owners misunderstand completely. Your cat walks into the room, sits 6 feet away, and does absolutely nothing. No cuddles, no meowing, no dramatic greeting. Just quietly existing in the same space as you, it doesn't feel very affectionate. But think about it. If cats are naturally cautious animals, why would they choose to spend their free time next to something they didn't trust? They wouldn't. Cats don't constantly seek attention because they need reassurance. They choose where they feel safest. Sometimes the greatest compliment your cat can give you is simply deciding you're worth being around. And then there's one behavior that confuses almost everyone. You reach out to pet your cat and suddenly it walks away. That feels personal, like rejection, but most of the time it isn't rejection at all. It's communication. Your cat isn't saying, I don't like you, it's saying, I've had enough for now. Cats experience affection differently, many enjoy it, just in smaller doses than humans expect. Imagine someone hugging you for 5 straight minutes after you've already said goodbye. Eventually, even if you love that person, you'd want some space. Cats are no different. The problem is, we often measure love by how much attention someone gives us. Cats measure it by something else entirely, trust. And once you realize that their behavior starts to look completely different, So, if trust is the currency cats care about, how do you actually earn more of it? Surprisingly, the answer isn't doing more, it's doing less. This is something behavior experts often see with new cat owners. The more excited a person is to bond with their cat, the more they reach out, more petting, more picking them up, more calling their name, more trying to create cute moments. From a human perspective, that sounds loving. From a cat's perspective, it can feel overwhelming. Remember, your cat's ancestors survived by staying in control of their own space. Choice matters to them a lot. That's why one of the simplest trust-building techniques is sometimes called the consent test instead of walking over to your cat. Let your cat make the first decision. Sit on the floor, stay relaxed, don't stare, don't chase, don't reach out immediately, just be present. If your cat becomes curious, it will usually come closer on its own, and when it does, offer a single finger instead of your whole hand. To us, that tiny gesture seems almost silly. To a cat, it's predictable, non-threatening, easy to investigate. If they rub against your finger, great. If they walk away, that's okay too. Here's the important part. Respecting that choice doesn't weaken your relationship. It strengthens it. Every time your cat learns that being near you never leads to unwanted pressure, you become a safer place to be. And over time, something interesting starts to happen. The cat that used to leave after 5 seconds stays for 10, then 30. Then maybe one day, without you asking it, jumps onto the couch beside you. Not because you convinced it, because it chose to. And for a cat, choice is everything. The strongest relationships with cats aren't built through control. They're built through consistency. The quiet routine of feeding them, playing with them, respecting their boundaries, being predictable, being safe. None of those moments feel dramatic, but to your cat, they're the reason trust slowly grows. It's a marathon, not a magic trick. So let's go back to the question we started with. Does your cat actually love you? Maybe, maybe not. But that's probably the wrong question. Cats don't spend their lives trying to prove their affection the way humans do. They don't think in hugs. They don't think in compliments. They don't wake up wondering how to make someone feel appreciated. What they do understand is safety, trust, routine, and the freedom to choose who gets close. That's why a slow blink, a gentle head bump following you from room to room, or simply deciding to sleep nearby can mean far more than most people realize. Those aren't random behaviors. They're tiny pieces of a language that's been evolving for thousands of years, a language most of us were never taught. So the next time your cat ignores your expensive bed, walks away after a few pets, or quietly sits across the room watching you, don't ask, "Why doesn't my cat love me?" Instead, ask, "What is my cat trying to say?" Because once you stop expecting your cat to behave like a dog, you finally give it the chance to be exactly what it is. And sometimes, that's when the real bond begins. If your cat has ever done something that made absolutely no sense until now, I want to hear about it. Tell your story in the comments, and if this video helped you understand your tiny, mysterious roommate just a little better, make sure to like the video and subscribe. Because the more we learn about how animals really think, the more amazing they become. Thanks for watching. And give your cat a slow blink from me.